Tenmacho Prison was a modern-day detention center that existed during the Edo period. Life inside this prison was said to be harsher than any existing prison in the world. This time, we will introduce life in Japan's harshest prison in the world at the time. Currently, there is a park on the site and a temple where the beheadings took place to pay respect for the prisoners. Yes, this place also functioned as an execution site. On the left side of this road is the place of the former prison site, which is now a park. On the other side is the place where beheadings took place and is now a temple. A Buddhist statue offering a memorial service to beheaded prisoners. The beheadings were carried out at this very place. Those executed included many famous people from Japanese history. If you look to the right with the Buddha statue in front of you, you will see the main hall of the temple, and it is said that this temple was built by a certain high-ranking monk who felt countless spirits who could not attain Buddhahood when he was passing through this area. Head to the park on the site of the prison. This place is located in an office district and many office workers come and go. This bell alerted the city to the execution of sentences and the time. The walls of the prison were surrounded by a stone wall made of gigantic stones. The park has a variety of play equipment. In one corner stands a cenotaph for Shoin Yoshida, who was executed here and brought the era of samurai to an end and led Japan to modernization. It was not uncommon for criminals in this era to carry swords, so police officers had to use a variety of weapons, tools, and martial arts to capture criminals without killing them. When a suspect brandished a weapon and resisted arrest, police used ladders to surround him and apprehend him, attacking from the outside with trapping tools such as tsukibu, sasumata, and sadagarami. When actually taking custody, martial arts such as jujitsu and trapping techniques were mainly used. This is a weapon called jit, which probably belonged to a security agency. It is said that a skilled swordsman could even snatch away a sword that was being brandished. This is called hoju and was used when arresting criminals. Until handcuffs were introduced, various methods of arrest were systematized and counted as a martial art. Captured criminal suspects were sent to the police box, where they were interrogated. If the suspect confessed to the crime or the evidence was solidified during preliminary investigation at the main police box, a prison certificate would be prepared at the magistrate's office, and the suspect would be sent to the prison in Tenmacho. Prison locations differed depending on social status, but large prisons for ordinary people were controlled by prison masters. And newcomers were sometimes mistreated if they did not hand over money upon entering the prison. The prison was self-governed by the prisoners, and a prison warden was in charge. This was officially recognized by the shogunate and the prison warden. There were several subordinates under the prison warden. When the new prisoner enters the prison at the urging of the prison warden, he is asked what kind of crime he has committed and is taught the rules of the prison. He is then asked for a bribe. The higher the amount, the more preferential treatment one would receive in prison. But if I was penniless, they would be subject to severe beatings and murder. After that, they were thrown into a place with feverish people, and if they returned alive, they could start life in prison. But some of them were said to have died from the infection. Because the trial was held after he was in prison, he was summoned to the magistrate's office during the day and interrogated. Ones targeted were those who were frail, had no support from the outside, or dust for snoring too loudly. These people were often beaten with boards to death. Also, when collaborators of police organizations, such as Okapiki, were taken to prison, they were made to eat heaps of feces from bowls. Because prisoners were crowded together in poor conditions in the prison, skin diseases and infectious diseases were widespread, and other factors besides assaults and assassinations caused prisoners to die in prison. The trial was held in a place called Shirasu. If the charges could not be determined after the investigation in Shirasu, they were returned to the prison and tortured under the name of interrogation in a special room set up there. The interrogation there was much harsher than the interrogation at Shirasu. Suspects who did not confess even after questioning at the police box were subjected to torture. Torture was not carried out randomly, but was limited to charges punishable by death or more, such as murder, arson, robbery, breaking into a checkpoint, and forgery. This image shows whipping torture, and most suspects confess, but those who remained silent were subjected to the next level of torture. Those who still did not confess were subjected to the torture of stone holding. The suspect was made to sit upright on a triangular block of wood, with a stone slab placed on his knees. Each stone slab weighed about 50 kilograms, and even one slab was enough to cause excruciating pain, but sometimes up to 10 slabs were piled up. If the suspect still didn't confess, they were subjected to ebizine. It is said to have been named ebizine because the body is bent and tied like a shrimp, but there is also a theory that if the person is tied in this position, the whole body turns red like a shrimp. Those who did not confess under either torture method were subjected to hanging. It is said that the pain suffered by suspects hanging in this way was so severe that they fainted within a few minutes.
Japan provides information about Japan that is not well known.
During the Edo period, the age of the samurai, there were punishments that are unimaginable today. This video introduces the punishments used at that time. They have carried out countless beheadings. What is the surprising reason why he was able to make such a huge profit by performing the dirty job of being an executioner, which regular samurai would not engage in, as it was considered dishonorable? In the Tenmacho prison, prisoners had to endure various forms of torture every day, and murders between prisoners were commonplace. There was also an execution field on the premises of the prison, where decapitations were carried out. At the site, the bell that heralded the execution of a sentence, and the stone wall that used to house the prison still remain. Those who committed the most heinous crimes were carried by horse with their body restrained, and transported to Nihonbashi, the center of Edo. The terrible punishments practiced there. What did the criminals think as they crossed the Bridge of Tears and were transported to Suzugamori execution ground? At this location, there are remains of the well where the heads of decapitated criminals were washed, as well as the foundations used for burning at the stake and crucifixion. The executed bodies were thrown into a nearby temple, so this temple is also called Throwing Temple. A huge jizo that has seen countless executions. This place has a different history than other execution site. This jizo can be seen from the window of the train that carries many commuters towards the center of Tokyo every morning. Human bones are still often unearthed in this area during construction work. It is said that books on the sharpness of swords and books on medicine were completed due to the existence of this execution site. But what was going on at this place? People who were considered unclean and not human were forced to perform tasks such as preparing for the punishment, carrying out the execution, and cleaning up after the punishment. A look into the life of a man who worked at Suzugamori execution ground and became an object of people's faith. Executed in the Edo period commit, and what kind of punishment were they given? Explore their crimes and punishments.
Japan provides information about Japan that is not well known. Thank you for watching until the end. We will be encouraged if you like and subscribe.